Welcome, everybody. My name is Mina Jane. I'm the director of the Ashland Public Library in Massachusetts, and I am super excited to be here with Jody Blanchette, also known as @RedRedReviews on Instagram, who has been doing these horror book recommendation programs with us for over a year, about a year and a half now.
Yeah, a year and a half.
And just picks out the best things. We have these amazing conversations. So before we get started, I want to say thanks to the Friends of the Ashland Public Library for supporting all of our programs and to Jody for letting us share this program with other libraries. Libraries working together are just my favorite thing. So if you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat or the Q&A. I will moderate them. And if you would like to tell us what you're reading, feel free to throw that into the chat as well. And I will include it in the recap email to everybody with Jody's recommendations and whatever you're reading. So I'm going to cough a little bit, Jody. Go for your first book.
Okay. So we're going to start it off nice and easy with a thriller because I like to work my way into the heavy stuff. So Kimberly Bell has been writing domestic suspense, I guess they're calling it, romantic thriller type things for a while. Her last book was, what the hell was the name of it? The Paris Widow, I believe it was. And it was like a game changer for me with her books. It wasn't as much about the husband and wife as it was about the bad things that he's done and her trying to figure it out. Well, now her new book is The Expat Affair. And this takes place in Amsterdam, which apparently Kimberly has a house in Amsterdam. So she was able to like channel all of that, what she knows about the people there and living there. And this one is about a woman who is from America and she's moved to Amsterdam to start her life over after divorce. Because, that's what you do after divorce. You just leave the country and start over. And she has this one night stand with this totally hot guy who turns out to be a diamond dealer, which, that's even like better, right? So she's like taking pictures of herself and selfies and putting them on Instagram with all these diamonds. And cue to the next morning, and she finds his dead body in the room. And so now the killer has been there while she was sleeping. So she's freaked out. So she kind of runs, and it starts this whole like, she's not doing the investigation. She's pretty much just hiding because at this point she's a witness. And it's a narrative between this woman and another woman who is actually related to the whole diamond. They call them diamond houses. Like the house of what is Cartier is a house of diamonds. So this is the Prin House of Diamonds. And one of
I
the
love
women.
this sort of dismissive look you have about that, like, oh, the House of Diamonds.
Oh, I mean,
What?
my house is not a house of diamonds. My house is a house of filth. And there's people that like their whole life revolves around diamonds. Like seriously, I own one diamond. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I like cheap stones.
Don't have to worry about losing them or being killed for them or something.
Right. So the whole thing is about, there's diamonds that go missing and they're trying to find out who the killer is. And it's really more of a murder mystery than her domestic sort of thing that she's kind of gotten a name for. And I like that she's going down this path. I feel like it's her writing has matured. Does that make sense? She was writing for that whole vibe when she started, and now I think she's trying to finding her path. And I liked this one. I really liked it. And the killing method was a zip tie around the neck. I don't have zip ties that big, but they do make them.
Yeah.
And I tried to find my zip ties for the picture, and I couldn't, and I was really upset.
That is disturbing. But can you just, I didn't quite understand one thing. Is she just sort of like, is she like trying to solve the mystery? Is she running from the mystery and somebody's trying to help?
She's hiding.
Okay.
She's hiding, and I mean, I guess she is trying to figure out who it is, but she's not trying too hard because she's like, she doesn't have a clue about anything. She's not connected to anybody. She literally was a one night stand. So it's the other woman that kind of is trying to figure out who killed him to save the House of Pren, the Diamond House, because it's a reputation thing. So it is there's not really an investigation, I guess. It's just like I think the reader really is doing the investigating because you're gathering all the clues from all the different perspectives and the information coming at you from different people. I think there was one cop, but he's not even a big deal. He's not like the story.
So how far along was it before you figured it out?
Well, I mean, I was about halfway through. Shut up, Nina.
That's very slow for her, for anybody listening.
It is. And my next book, I don't think I hope I didn't mention this last time. I didn't write it down, so I'm assuming I didn't mention this. But this is the book that my book club read. And to me, a good book club book is one that not everybody likes. So my book club is like 10 people, all ages. I would say about half of them liked the book and half of them didn't like the book, which really works well for conversation. I don't want everybody to, well, no, I do want everybody to like the books, but I want to hear why they don't like it, which is more important to me. So this is Peter Swanson, who, yeah, he's a really good writer. I really like him. This is called Kill Your Darlings, and it's written in reverse. So it starts off, with a murder. Like a husband, wife. I don't want to give away too much, but it's a husband, wife, and one of them is murdered by the other. And it starts from that, and then it backtracks through their relationship and how all the way to where they met, which is the last chapter where they met in middle school. So it's all of these things that happen between they're old, they're married, one of them's going to die, a lot of scandal in between. And then when they met. And when you get to the part where they met, which is the end of the book, there's a twist that gets thrown in there. It's like the last page twist. Mm-hmm. Don't go reading ahead and ruining it for yourselves. But like, it was good. It was not twisty until the end. It was just a solid read, solid thriller for the whole thing, because there's like some allusions to other murders happening in the book, and you want to figure out what it was, but you have to go backwards to figure this out. It never jumps back. It always goes backwards. And then that big twist happens, and it's not a twist. It's a twist, like reveal. It changed the whole entire, I literally read it, and it made me do this stupid bark laugh I have where I was like, I laughed and I'm like, that works. I was like, okay. So a lot of people in my book club didn't like it because of the backwards timeline. They really didn't like that at all. And I can understand that. And I've only read one other book where that happens that I've actually liked it. But the way that he wrote it, I don't know, you get more of the mystery going backwards, and there's more surprise going backwards. And I don't know, I really enjoyed it. I've read some reviews for it that people can get into the characters, and honestly, the characters aren't the book. I know that sounds strange because they're in the book, but they're not the book. It's the events that happen, not them. Mm-hmm. So I recommend this. I actually really enjoyed this, and it's a light thriller. I don't think there's any gore in it.
There was a movie back in the 80s or 90s called Memento.
Oh yeah, but he had to write stuff on him. No, he kept losing his memory.
He had short-term memory loss, so he didn't remember stuff. And then, so he did solve a mystery backwards. And so it started with I don't remember actually, it was so long ago, but it was a really good movie. So I think if you could handle that, like you could certainly handle this.
Yeah, I remember watching that, and I actually liked that movie. I was one of the few people that didn't mind that movie from my friend group. So, I mean, I think I have more of a tolerance for this kind of stuff than some people. Some people just get turned off immediately. If it's like first chapter, if I'm not into it, they're going to close the book and walk away. This one of my elderly ladies who I know has such a hard time with timelines, I knew that she was going to give me crap about it. And she's the first person I targeted, right, zoomed in on her. And I'm like, what'd you think? She's like, I liked it. And I'm like, did I get it right? Like, what? I was like, okay.
Christine's with me. She loved Memento also. But yeah, I think it's sort of experimental. So if you don't really get it, then you don't get the story. You don't get the book.
Yeah.
So I can see why you would say if the characters weren't as important as that sort of understanding the timeline.
Right.
Yeah.
At least you understood what I was saying, because I didn't.
I did. I have another question though. Isn't there another book called Kill Your Darlings by Clay McLeod Chapman?
Yeah, I think I have it behind me somewhere. Yeah, that's a popular title. There's one coming. There's Kill All Your Darlings. Kill Your Darlings. I think they're actually.
I don't want to be anybody's darling.
Darling is a bad word. Like, I don't think my husband doesn't call me that. I don't know if you have pet names, but if he called me darling, I'd be like, no.
Funny story. I have an uncle and aunt who literally would be like, "Darling, do this and that, darling," because they had the Indian accent, but they were trying to play it up. It was
Uh-huh.
hilarious, and it was so sweet and cute. But yeah, they might have wanted to kill each other at some point. I don't know.
I
Um,
think everybody in their marriage wants to kill somebody,
at
their
some
spouse at one point.
That's right. But I keep getting confused between the two because I think Kill Your Darlings by Clay came out recently, and this one too came out recently.
Well, Kill Your Darlings is coming out by Peter Swanson next month,
Okay.
and Clay's book I think came out last year
Yeah. So it's a little
because
confusing.
it's up for awards this year, so I believe it came out last year.
Okay. All right. So don't get confused by the two. Both are good, just
Oh,
very.
but read both of them though. Always read Clay. I always push Clay. There's
No, I
that should be like his that should be his tagline. Like push play, always push Clay.
yeah, no. Um I'm going to say the other book that he wrote is the one that I'm interested in that I think you recommended last week where it was very political.
Wake up and open your eyes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the
Yes.
one. That's the one. I'm going to totally read that if I can get my gumption up.
I really think you should. There was a lot of really gross parts in it, Mina. So you're really going to have to like, if you want me support, you have my number. We can talk about it as you're reading it, and I can hold your hand. But those gross parts are really important to the story. Some people just throw gross stuff in just for the wow factor. His are really important to the story, and it is extremely political. It's so well written. I'm just like, that's the one. If I was a drug dealer, that's the heroin I'm pushing right now.
Okay, I'm going to inject it soon. As soon as I get my gumption. Everybody here knows I'm a weenie, so
You
I'm not
are,
embarrassed at all.
but I'll hold your hand, so we'll be fine. So my next one is I think they're calling it a thriller. I think it's like a thriller horror kind of mesh. It's Alex North's, and again, this is another one that's coming out. That's just actually this one came out today. It's called The Man Made of Smoke. So he he hit his like big point in his career with The Whisper Man. I'm sure you've heard of that. You probably haven't read it because it's super scary. It's another one of those murdery books. Yeah, I know. And that was the book that turned me on to him, and it was like my favorite book by him. He wrote I think two more books since then, and they weren't as good as that one. This may be better than The Whisper Man. Now I really like The Whisper Man because it was creepy and serial killery, and this is like super serial. Okay, it's like serial killer but not serial killer. So it's about this guy who abducts children, and
Hold on. Stop bending that book. Stop it.
it's an arc. I'm allowed to bend arcs. Um, I don't do you dog ear? I don't dog ear. Yeah, that's like illegal in my house. Yeah, yeah. Sometimes I want to write in my books, but I know better. Anyways, so he has this mantra where no one sees, no one cares, or no one knows. So he finds these children in like convenience stores or in arcades, and he just walks off with them. And he takes them back to his house and does horrible things for him. So he is in the process of a child abduction in a restroom at a gas station, and this young man, I guess 12 is considered young man, right? Walks into the bathroom, and he has a really like icky feeling about what's happening. He sees this boy standing outside of a stall, and he's just the kid's looking at him like, help me. But he doesn't say anything. And the kid's just got a really uneasy feeling, and he goes to the bathroom, and then he kind of like leaves, and he finds out later that that child was abducted and killed. And so now he's got like, I think it's survivor's guilt, but not just survivor's guilt. It's, I want to call it victim guilt, because he was witnessing something, and he didn't do anything to help. So the story is him as an adult. He's coping with, because that's traumatic for you, knowing that the child dies and you survived. It did nothing. Didn't even tell, don't tell anybody. So it's him as an adult, and he's dealing with his stuff, and his father passes away. His father was a police officer, and his father had been investigating the serial killer for a while. And the serial killer was caught. They figured out who it was. But now people are dying again to have a connection to the serial killer, and he's getting sucked in. So it's like an old school serial killer with a new serial killer, and you've got this. He's really digging into this case, even though he's not a cop. it becomes no one is safe in the book. The ending was freaking amazing. It was like all just came together perfect, and it was a lot of uncomfortable and bad things happening. It has a happy ending, but it was like a lot to get there, and it was, I don't know, it was just so freaking good. It was so creepy. Like the whole serial killer himself, like he drove around in one of those little like meth caravans with the windows that are like boarded up and like they have bars on it. You have the best mental picture of this when you're reading that book, right? And it's like the guy's got to have like those nasty teeth. I'm just feeling like total grossed out, totally into this. I'm like, oh, he's a disgusting human. And then they go to the kid and the adult, and oh my god, it was so good. It was so good. I really recommend picking this one up. Like it was really good.
So is the kid that was 12 that becomes an adult, is he the one that sort of starts investigating?
Not by choice.
Okay.
I don't want to give too much away.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Well, because like there's a lot of stuff happens that I can't tell you because it really is what makes the book. But if for people that are super into the serial killer type books, this is really a great, you have the perspective of the killer for a few chapters, and then you have, his victims and his non-victims, people that are affected by it, which can be scarier than what the serial killer is doing. So it was good. It was emotional too. It was really well written.
There was just a quick aside. We watched this movie on Netflix the other day. I don't know if anybody here saw it, but it's about a kid in England who kills a girl. They're 13, and he's like denying it, and then there's a video of it, and it's in 4 parts. So it shows the police, it shows the kid in juvie, it shows the family and how they're all affected. And then what you're saying like really kind of reminds me of it, because it was like the entire perspective.
Yeah, I like that. I like getting the whole perspective. Do you know when that happened? Is that like a 1980s murder or a 1970s?
No, it was relatively current.
Really?
I'll look it up. I'll look it up while you're talking about the next book,
because there was a time when they really believed, at least over, because I've read a lot about this overseas, they really believed that 13-year-olds didn't have the mental capacity to kill people.
Oh.
Yeah, right? Like, dude, the emotion, puberty, everything that goes through you when you're 13 years old, I'm surprised more teenagers aren't like, out there. Well, we have school shootings now, right?
Yeah. It was called Adolescence.
Okay.
So,
I think I heard of that one.
Oh, you should watch it. You would like it. It's very atmospheric. Like you just waiting for something to happen, but it's emotional.
You know what I have been watching is this it's a docu-series called The Cabin in the Woods, which is so stupid because I can't do this kind of stuff. It freaks me out. And it's like little mini documentaries about these random cabins and bad things that happen in these cabins. And it's a whole bunch of different, murder obviously in all of them, but different cabins in different parts of the United States. And it's like, I told my husband, I'm like, you're never taking me on a romantic getaway to a cabin in the woods because I know what happens there. I know I'm not going to leave.
Yeah. It might be one of those times when he does want to kill you. All right. No one's safe. All right.
No one is safe. So now we're going to start going into my horror recommendations because I've been really packing in the horror this month. So I met Chuck Wendig, was it last week or the week before? He's everything I thought he would be. He's just like awesome. And I picked up his new book, which I hadn't read before going to meet him, which normally I like to read the book before I go hear someone talk about them. So I was really like, don't say any spoilers kind of thing. But I knew it was going to be fantastic. So his new book is called The Staircase in the Woods. So you really need to, this is one of the thinner of his books. What I always say is with Chuck books, you need to make sure you have a weekend set aside where you can't leave the book because you're going to, coming back to it, it's going to take you a minute to get that feeling. So reading it straight through if you can, it's a ride. It's like a roller coaster, fun ride through hell. But that's not what this book is about. That's just the feeling you'll get while reading this book. So it's about these 5 kids that come across a staircase in the woods. No foundation, nothing, just a random staircase in the woods. Now, you find a staircase in the woods. Are you going to go up that staircase? You would, you're braver than me. I know better. I read these books that tell you you don't go up the staircase. You don't even go near the staircase because, of course, the staircase is a fucking portal.
No, it's a golden goose.
No, there's no golden goose. It's a portal. And like I'd like to think like my idea what the staircase looked like doesn't match the way he wrote it. Like my staircase was wood, and I think that that's okay that I have a different vision of it. It was like wooden balustrades, and it's got like moss dripping off of it, but it's not at all like what it was in the book. So, anyways, so there's these four kids. They find the staircase. One of them goes up the staircase. Obviously, he steps off the top of the thing. He goes into a portal. He's gone. He goes missing. What happens after that? There's an investigation about, what really happened to him, where did he go, kind of thing. And then you have the kids that are kind of like processing losing their friend and then moving on, and they're like, oh, we didn't go with him, we didn't even try to find him afterwards, and the staircase disappears after a certain amount of time. So it's not like you can go back tomorrow and try to find your friend. And then Q2, I think it was like a 10 or 15 years later when they're adults, the survivors, and they all go back because a new staircase has appeared. So they're like, well, we have to go find our friend. And that once they all go up that staircase, the book goes from being like, well, it's just, oh my God, it was horrible. Like it's like a labyrinth. Like the portal is hell. It's not hell, but it's hell. It's all a bunch of rooms. And if they get separated, they're never going to see each other again. So it becomes like this labyrinth kind of vibe. Each room is somebody else's nightmare, not necessarily the main characters. And it's the book's about friendship, Nina.
Yeah. Sounds like it.
It is. It's about holding your friendships and moving on and childhood friendships and how they become the adult friendships. But it's so much more than that. Because once they get into the portal, it just becomes like, oh my God, it's horrible. This book is horrible. It's really screwed up too, because I don't know where he gets these ideas from. There's a lot of weird stuff that happens in it. I just can't recommend it enough. I really enjoyed it. It's everything. I mean, if you go into shock expecting the unexpected, and he goes there with, last year my best book was of 2024 was Black River Orchard by him, which was a book about an orchard apple cult. Right? That's weird. Staircases in the woods are weird. Don't go up the damn staircase.
Okay, now I won't, but I'm curious about how you have two books this week that actually have to do with survivors and the guilt that they feel to the point that they go back and try to figure.
I think that that's a new thing that's coming up in books. So you think that they're exploring that whole concept of people who are friends with victims. It's not grief per se that is the story. I don't really know how to explain it.
I think you explained it really well earlier when you said that they felt guilty because they hadn't done anything.
Yeah.
They felt that like, oh, something's not right, and they just walked. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? And the thing that it would be hard for me is that huge time gap, especially with the serial killer, because I'm like, okay, now he's killed so many more people in that time.
Right.
I prefer for the serial killer to get caught relatively right away, but I think that's an interesting concept that you like. Now you've had two books this week that.
Well, with Staircase, you've got the remaining four survivors, and each one of them has dealt with surviving in a completely different way. You have someone who went to drugs, or someone who acted like nothing ever happened and tried to live his best life, and it really covers all of what the possibilities of how you feel with, how you deal with something like that. He did a really great job with that. And those nightmares, feelings that everybody is trying to like press down, are exposed in the book in the most horrible ways. And I mean, it really does, it makes you feel it's just so good.
And I think that's really the interesting thing. And I know we're almost out of time. You have one more book to go, but that, the people wonder why people read horror, and it's because it's so emotional and cathartic, and things that you're afraid of, like you see on the page, and you can sort of like go through it or whatever.
Horror is so much more than it used to be now. I think that we have, you have authors that grew up with the paperback horror and have evolved with their emotions and dealing with the 80s, 90s, and all the crap that we've gone through in the past few decades. And it's just evolved.
Yeah.
You could read horror. You could. So my closeout book. I don't believe I talked about this last month.
No.
Okay, but this is obviously it's going to be in my top 10 because, well, first of all, Nat Cassidy can do no wrong. I love his books. This is When the Wolf Comes Home. So I go into books blind, right? I go, okay, so it's a wolf book. And I've been hearing it's a werewolf book. And I'm like, okay, I could do a good werewolf. I'm ready for a werewolf. It's not a werewolf book. It's not a stupid guy tearing off his clothes and like, I'm going to eat my family. And it's not. It's a book about fear. It's really about a child's projection of fear. This boy has this special ability to project his fears and make them come to life. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, he looks at his father and his father is having this rage attack and he's angry. And the little boy sees a big bad wolf. He sees masks in a Target around Halloween that looks scary. They're of course going to jump off and come after him and try to kill him. It's every little child's nightmare in there, but it's more than that. It's God, all these books are they're like at levels. They're deep. Like Nat gets deep. There's a girl in the book that helps the little boy, and she has her father just passed away, and she's dealing with the grief of losing her father, and so she's got this dad who she never really knew, and she's grieving him, but she doesn't want to grieve him. And you've got this boy who's afraid of his father, and it's a story about fathers. It's a story about grief, and really, it's a story about fear, like all of your fears. It was really well done. And I cried. There was a section where it made, and if you listen to the audiobook, because I listened to the audiobook, Nat actually narrates. There is maybe like one page of a letter that is written to the girl from her dad, and Nat is the voice of her reading that letter in her mind. And the way the narration goes from the female narrator, and then it like seamlessly bled into Nat's voice. Like it was perfect, and he had all the emotion. I mean, he wrote the book. I would hope he know what emotions to talk with. Mm-hmm. And it was just so cool. And then that's it. He just has only that little part in the audiobook, but it was like it'll blow your mind if you do the audiobook.
Okay, I will try that. Well, I don't know. We'll see. It sounds like it's kind of horrible, but
there are some bad things that happen.
Yeah. He's such a nice man. I don't understand like how all these nice people are writing these horrific.
And you know what, too? Another thing I caught on, he likes to put bugs in his book. Another one. He's got bugs in all of his books that I've read. There's always some sort of creepy, nasty bug moment. And he's got bugs in this one, too. And I'm like, can we just have one without the bugs? I can deal with, like, slaughter, but, like, I don't want cockroaches in my mouth.
Oh, go with you. That's disgusting. Thank you. I do want to point out 3 of your books tonight did have to do with children, which is different for you, like that there were children in the books.
Yeah, but like I'm okay. I'm okay with kids getting killed off in books. I'm okay with kids getting kidnapped in books. I'm okay with that.
But not okay with cockroaches.
No. I can feel the crunch and their little teeth, their little legs getting stuck in your teeth. You know you're feeling that right now.
Yeah, that's disgusting. I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight. Well, Jody, thank you once again for
giving you nightmares.
Yeah, but also like, going into depth on these books so that we see more than just the horror, that there's so much more to it. So I really appreciate that. And we'll see you next month, I think, on a different night though. When is it? June that we changed it to a Wednesday?
Yeah, we are changing our date in June. I can't remember when we changed. I think maybe the 18th or something, because I have I'm going to a really cool thing. I'm going to tour Macmillan Audio's studio.
Oh my gosh.
So that's like, I kind of had to change the date because I'm not missing that.
Nope. And I don't mind changing because you're doing exciting things. So anyways, I will see you on the 18th of June, and I'll let everybody know about that. And I hope you enjoy the tour.
I can't wait. I really can't wait.
And I hope you have a great time this Saturday with Nat Cassidy.
It's going to be amazing. And we have all this food prepared and ready. It's going to be fantastic. He's not going to know what hit him.
Well, I'm glad that you're such a good hostess because he will then come back.
Hopefully.
All right. Bye, Jody, and good night, everybody. Happy reading.